Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday care people. It's the Big Connector here. Got a brand new shirt, got a brand new knife, and it is an exciting occasion because it is a Grail knife. It's a knife that since I started collecting, I wanted to put one of these in my pocket. Now, I first saw this knife in person in Montana at, I think it was called an Atmosphere or something like that. It was a big Montana sports store in Great Falls, Montana. And I went in there. We were doing some camping down there, and we were driving through this big ass city. And we stopped there because we needed to grab some stuff. And I saw this knife in a case, and I said, "Holy cow! I want this knife." But then I picked it up and I looked at the price, even in the States, and it was quite expensive. And I thought, well, back then I had not understood the value of what it takes to build some of these knives and the stuff that goes into them. And if you're going to pay for something, you might as well pay for good quality. But I still just could not bring myself to do it. And this knife is a Benchmade 940 Osborne. And this is an older one. It's pre-owned. I ended up trading something for this. And I will leave some in the comments if you think I did all right. So this is a Cabela's 940 154 cm combo blade with a Cerakote on it, axis lock, virtually brand new, very, very little wear or use on this. Just an older knife that was a guy's father's, and he got it from his father and just didn't really like it, and he wanted a paramilitary too, and that's what I traded him. An S30 VPM2 with the camouflage pattern on it that I actually dyed purple, and he didn't mind it, and we made a trade straight across. And and it was not because I did dislike the paramilitary too. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I had grown kind of, maybe it had been a little stale in my collection. And you know what? There are other ones out there that I may get, and I think I do want to get another paramilitary too. I think I want to get the paramilitary 2 Tanto. But anyway, I got this knife, and I've carried this knife for the last couple of weeks, and it is, a Grail knife, and I was expecting a lot of this knife, and in a lot of ways it delivered, but in a lot of ways it found it's being taken out of my pocket by another knife. And when you've got a Grail knife, and you finally get that Grail knife in your pocket, nothing should bump it for quite some while. Although this one did get bumped, and it got bumped by the 8015 by Cold Steel. I ended up picking this up, carrying this for a while, and then I got the 8015. I still wanted to carry this for a bit, but that 8015 just kept on invading my pocket. And so I thought, we better get going to the tabletop, and let's go over this here as well, okay? All right, as you can see here, I've got some comparison knives here to size-wise. Of course, we've got the Spyderco Delica. Everybody has to have a Delica on their table when you're comparing your knives. And of course, we've got here a Sage 1. As you can see that it's got some good, EDC length. Here, sorry, I just gotta click off my, there we go. Sorry about that. I have something on my computer there I need to stay up. And anyways, you can see that the Benchmade 940 has got some length on it, and it's got some blade length on it too as well. Like it dwarfs both of these blades quite a bit. Not in thickness wise, but in length. And I don't know if that's more important, length or width. Who knows? All I know is this has been a fairly comfortable knife in my hand, and especially in my pocket. That's what it's got definitely going for it. Well, let's go over some specs here real quick. So this was this is an Osborne design with the axis lock. It is total length of 7.87 inches long with a blade length of 3.4. I mean, just about 3.5. And as you all know, I think 3.5 is the best EDC length whatsoever. Blade thickness is 2.92 millimeters, and you can see here it actually thins out a little bit here, but then the tip kind of widens out in order to give that a little bit of tip strength. And this is kind of more of a false edge. The thickness of the knife is basically running right here. You can see here you've got the 2.8 inches here, and it carries out all the way through the knife too as well, this little line here. So you do have some, despite this looking rather skinny at the top here, you do have some fairly good beefitude in this knife throughout the entire length of the blade. Now the closed length here is 4.47 inches long, so not quite 5 inches. It disappears in the pocket really, really well. It's extremely light at 2.9 ounces. It does have an aluminum handle here, with, of course, the purple titanium backspacer, as well as the stainless steel liner. Like I said, this blade here is the 154 CM, and it is a Cerakote, not a DLC, because this knife here, I do believe, is about 8 years old. It's got the Benchmade clip on it. You can see that it's starting to lose its color a little bit, but a little bit of Sharpie, and that'll look perfect. Or even, I might even take this and just peel all the paint right off this and shine it right up, and I think it might even look a little bit better that way. Let's go over here a little bit more. Of course, you've got your access lock, and that is one thing I think that Benchmade is extremely famous for. The access lock is really, really a great lock, in and that it is so fidget friendly. It is so easy to use, and it helps you open this knife quite a bit. So you could open the knife, of course, using the thumb studs. It'll flick open. You don't need to flick it open. It's very well designed. It's not a lot of pressure to open up that. Or you could just pull your access lock back and flick the knife out. And the nice thing about it is it will flick. I had a good, even at any sort of angle, it'll flick open. So really, really fidget friendly, this knife. It's unbelievable. Now, this one here has got the combo edge on it, and I wasn't too sure about how Benchmade did its serrations, but these serrations are extremely sharp. Now, a lot of times I use my knives to break down cardboard, and I certainly wasn't disappointed in this whatsoever. I kept on trying to, use the top here as, to kind of push through the cardboard because I wasn't doing a sawing motion. And then I ended up kind of going backwards and just using the serrations here to cut through the cardboard, and it did a wonderful job. These serrations are razor sharp, and like I said, Benchmade has done a great job with these. Now, would I prefer a straight blade all the way through? Absolutely. That's kind of my number one thing. When I first decided I wanted to get one of these knives, I wanted the S30V blade, and I wanted the straight edge. I ended up getting a 154 CM with a combo, and you know what? It's not the end of the world. I don't think the 154 CM holds an edge quite as well as the S30V, but it does do a really, really nice edge. Now, the one thing, because this blade is so short, and it is kind of thick behind the edge. That's the one thing I got to say about this knife. Probably came from factory with, I'm going to say, like a 25 degree edge, 50 degrees inclusive. Like, it was a really blunt edge. Now, that is not going to be so super for like a super slicitude knife, but it is going to be a very well, very tough edge. And I ended up trying to lay this back a little bit. And even though I laid this back quite a bit, I think I've got this at now 17 degrees at a mere polish. It just seems like it's a little thick behind the edge, and it doesn't quite slice like I think some of the Spydercos do. Like, the Spyderco, even though the Spyderco has got probably about the same degree edge, behind the edge angle is quite a bit thinner, and you can feel it than this 940, and that just allows it, I think, to kind of slice through some of the material quite a bit nicer. Now, it is going to give you like I said, a tougher edge, but it's just not going to slice as near as nice. The other knock I really have on this is the fact that there is no lanyard hole. Now, a lot of people love the fact that there's no lanyard hole in this. I don't see why. I mean, I don't think they look super god ugly or anything like that. It's just one feature that you can enjoy that this does not have, and that is the lanyard hole. Now the clip here itself is ambidextrous, left or right. It is a tip-up carry, no tip-down carry for this. Now the access lock, despite it being extremely smooth and very easy to use, now your Spyderco ball bearing lock is along the same lines, but it's just not as easy. This one here, you can open and close with a thumb or just the finger. You don't need to have both. Whereas the Spyderco, you do need to pull both. At least I do, unless your knife is extremely broken in. And my Manixes are not like that. I need to use two hands to pull it back. Or this one, you can just use one and close. It's so much more handy that way. But now, conversely, though, there is what's called an Omega spring in here, and it's actually a spring that looks like. Let's see if I can perhaps. I might draw this, but it is a little spring that goes like this, and it's around and like that. Basically, it mimics the letter Omega, and that can break in these Benchmades. Now, there is a limited lifetime warranty on this knife, so if it does break, send it back to Benchmade, and they will take care of it, no problem. And I've heard Benchmade's warranty has been fantastic. Now, I know that another, perhaps, I'm not going to say a knock on Benchmade has been their quality control may not have been as up to par as perhaps it should have been in the past. And a lot of people, especially when this knife first came out, 8 years ago or so, had some concerns about the quality control. This one seems to be a very, very great, a really, really good one. Fit and finish is nice on it. It is slightly to the left, slightly to the clip ever so slightly, but still centered very, very well. Extremely smooth. Everything else is put together. I tested all your screws on here, and they're all nice and tight and snug. I'm not sure if they used red thread locker or blue thread locker or any thread locker, but everything was nice and tight on this knife. There was nothing was vibrating loose, and it seems like this handle seems to be holding up very, very well. Extremely comfortable. Now the ergonomics on here are nice, even though it's a really thin knife. I didn't notice any super hot spots when I was breaking down the cardboard, and it just seemed like it was a really, really pleasurable knife to cut through. Perhaps my expectations might have been a little bit too high on this when I first got it, because this being a Grail knife, or I think it also is a combination of the fact that the 8015 is such a fantastic knife that it just kind of kicked this out of my pocket. This is a knife that I'm going to be carrying on, holding on to, and it is a knife too that you can use this as a gentleman's carry, I feel, as well as it's got some, good heavy use characteristics to go along with it, and a really good EDC. Now, I've seen some 940s out there that are, 10 years old, and they are sharpened, especially the combo edge. We've got it sharpened right up where this is even now to the top, and it's, they still keep on ticking. So now, if I do end up carrying this for that long, and I sharpen the heck out of it, and I can send this in the Benchmade, and I think for about $35 they'll replace the blade on it for me. They'll give me an S30V blade, so I know it's not super expensive, and it's a really, really good program that Benchmade offers. Now, I'm going to give this knife probably an 8 out of 10. I'm going to ding it because I don't like the fact that there is no lanyard hole on this, and I'm also going to ding it a little bit for the fact that it is just a smidge thick behind the edge on this knife. By no means hampers the extreme performance on this. It just doesn't. It's just not as slicey as I like on this. The flick factor on this, the flickability, and it is off the charts with this. The toughness, I think, is there. I think the looks are there. I mean, I never would have, if I was designing this knife, I never would have stuck a purple or pink backspacer with this emerald green color. Not in a million years, but whoever did that design, whoever picked that color, Mr. Osborne, I think it did a fantastic job. It is eye-catching, and it is something that I never would have put together, and it makes it extremely unique with this knife. The blade shape is wonderful, too, as well. And I just think it's a really, really good-looking knife. It's a great flicking knife. It's a great hard-to-use knife. It's a great EDC knife, and it's a great gentleman's carry knife. Overall, I think it's a great knife to begin with. It just is not my absolute 100% favorite right now, and that's a shame. All right. Hope you guys had some fun here. Hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys will keep on coming back. Please give me the thumbs up as well as subscribe. Now, I had been offered, I've had a few people ask me when I'm going to do a complete entire collection breakdown. And I'm going to do that when I hit 1,000 subscribers and I can go live on my channel. That's when I'm going to go give my entire collection, and we'll spend a little bit of time going live. And I think that will be probably my first live video will be my collection once I hit 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for stopping by. Now, we are not out of the woods yet with the danger out there, but please listen to the experts. Keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.